This episode of Bartholomew Town is brought to you by the University of Rhode Island Online, Newport Film, Navigant Credit Union, Half Street Group, and Health Source RI for employers.
Bartholomew Town.
Hey guys, hopping on here after what was a really challenging radio show today as I was hosting on WPRO. Got in there with the mind to talk about the gubernatorial race and Helena Foulkes announcing that she's officially running, even though she's been running a Sub Rosa campaign for like a year plus now. And McKee and the commercial that he put out that accuses folks of basically being a drug dealer because of her role with the opioid crisis as president of CVS and the whole thing there. I was going to kind of break that down for you, and that was my plan, but ended up parking that conversation as literally when I got into the studio today, I looked up at kind of the news wire that we use, and I saw a headline that Charlie Kirk had been shot. If you don't know who Charlie Kirk is, I'd be surprised because he's become somewhat ubiquitous. If you're listening to this show, you probably have encountered Charlie Kirk in one way, shape, or form on social media or something. But basically, Charlie Kirk was, and in terms of as a digital entity, is a conservative provocateur, commentator, and podcaster and TikToker and the co-founder of Turning Point USA, which is the organization that I think, along with Joe Rogan, really moved the most recent election towards Trump with that whole block of young, white, either politically agnostic, politically discouraged, or just generally discouraged men. And so no doubt a Trump ally and somebody who is, again, part of that sort of conversation when you're talking about MAGA. And when you're talking about MAGA, you're talking about, at least on a national level, the contemporary body politique, right? So I looked up at the screen, I saw that, and I was like, well, we're not going to just like riff on this. We're not going to do anything miscellaneous. I just want to see what the details are. First of all, was he actually shot or were shots fired? What's the extent of the scenario? Let's kind of let it ride a little bit. And then it became more and more clear as minutes were passing by right at 3 o'clock. And it became clear this was like essentially either an assassination attempt or based on some of the video that I was seeing, which seemed to be legitimate and relatively consistent. It was definitely an assassination. So the show today was very different. I thought it was a very emotional show, and I thought some of the caller reaction was really strong and really good. And I thought some of the reaction was also extremely disappointing and emblematic of the very same problem that leads to political assassinations. And so you look at this from a couple different ways, right? So Charlie Kirk and I, on a political level, or on an ideological worldview level, I would guess we were complete opposites on pretty much every issue. I mean, I guess I've never like really paid that much attention to him to really understand exactly where he comes from. But as I understand, he's kind of a Christian nationalist, contemporary Republican type of figure. Immigration, anti-trans, the sort of Judeo-Christian values sect. And for me, although I can certainly have a conversation with somebody in that space, it's just not where I'm aligned. So what? You can make the argument that what he's introduced in terms of cultural conversation has been really damaging. And I think it probably has to a lot of the what most, I think, people would agree is good progress we've made. But at the same time, there's been a huge amount of resonation around some of what he says. So just because people repeat something doesn't automatically make it credible or aligned with your values or my values, but there also has to be some level of understanding that this is a shared value set amongst a whole heck of a lot of people that we share a national identity with. But the bottom line is that we have seen such a decrease in the level of consciousness on a global level, but on a national level, that when you take a look at some of the commentary, even on social media, as I was browsing, there was some, like, on one of the prominent leftist sort of Instagram feeds that I follow. I don't know, I was really disappointed with the commentary. And I'm really horrified by, especially today on WPRO, some of the callers that were, insinuating that, okay, well, this must be like the result of some deranged transgender leftist lunatic that, that somehow those, whatever they want to describe or imagine to be the prototypical assassin or horrible person, or like the other that is just in their mind, the caricature of that, like that's the only person who perpetuates any kind of political violence at all. Of course, words are fundamental to all of this, and look to Trump for case study number one in terms of the words and the violence that can come just simply from denigration of people based on immigration status or country of origin, however you want to forget immigration status, where they were born. Denigration of people based on their self-identification and their self-healing and self-care. Reducing people to a rodential type of conversation, totally dehumanizing. And I think at the same time, we've seen some language that has come from the left, if you will, that is foolish and scary and improper and is boy who cried wolf in nature, because though there's no question seeds of fascism have been planted and are sprouting, and there's no question that we're witnessing horrifying atrocities on a global and national basis right now, there's also human beings that are part of a coalition that backed this movement that aren't necessarily themselves Nazis. So I think we're in a really tough spot. We need to raise the level of consciousness on a national basis. And in order to do that, I don't think we can do it with the current infrastructure that we have. I don't think Trump I don't think anybody is equipped to lead this conversation. It's a moonshot type of conversation, right? Got to reclaim something that taps into the freaking mystery and magic and the unlikelihood that we would be born as individuals to begin with, and never mind born as individuals, but born as humans in this moment, in this time. Like, what are the odds? They're incalculably small. And we've just thrown that into the garbage. And we've just gotten to a point where everything feels really sad and it feels really despondent. It feels really like there's two worlds happening. For me, there's my world, which I deeply love. I love my people, the people that are closest to me in different capacities of relationship, the people that are in my family, obviously, and I love the work and the exercise of doing it and the artistic piece and the nature piece. So I'm like a happy person. Like I'm happy about it. But then I look at what's happening macro and I'm terrified, man. I don't know how to pair those two things. And so to me, the obvious solution is to say, well, let's go lean more heavily on the piece that is happy and identifies the joy and lives the joy and follows the heart and trusts in love and trusts in the magical pieces. And how do we inject that into our contemporary discourse? How do we inject that into politics or
Bartholomew Town?
Are you ready to take the next step in your career? URI Online offers business and leadership-focused programs designed to fit your life. Whether your goal is to advance in your career in fields like public administration, supply chain management, or training and development, their online programs provide the flexibility you need with the high-quality education you deserve. Learn more from experienced faculty and collaborate with a network of professionals, all from the comfort of your home or wherever life takes you. Visit uri.edu/online to explore programs and start building your future today. URI Online. Learn anywhere with us. As Rhode Island's first ever member-owned credit union, Navigant Credit Union has been a staple in the local business community for more than 108 years. Today, Navigant is a $3.4 billion institution serving more than 136,000 members across 25 physical branch locations. But since its founding in 1915, the mission has never changed. Navigant Credit Union's team of financial professionals have remained committed to improving the financial well-being of the families, businesses, and communities they serve across Rhode Island. Learn more at navigantcu.org.
At HealthSource RI for Employers, we provide access to health insurance to more than 1,200 local businesses and nonprofits, and 96% of them renew through us every year. Maybe it's our choice of 19 different health plans, our more than 10 years of customizing solutions, or our one local team of dedicated experts helping employers find quality health and dental insurance. See how our numbers stack up for you. Learn more at healthsourceri.com/employers.
We're brought to you in part by Newport Film. Make sure you check out their indoor film screening series by visiting newportfilm.com. Half Street Group brings a new generation's perspective to leadership communications, strategic public relations, and digital marketing. Half Street helps organizations and leaders take control of their own stories and manage their reputations. They get results for their clients by focusing on audience, message, and culture, and by leveraging their decade-long relationship with media and opinion leaders in the Ocean State and throughout New England. Join me and Half Street Group founder and president Mike Rea for a conversation every month about news of the day, the hottest media analysis, and a look behind the scenes at how impactful leaders drive conversations. Learn more at halfstreetgroup.com.
I don't know, but it needs to happen. Look, Charlie Kirk, 31, almost 32 years old. Give him credit for like a fearlessness. I mean, you might disagree with every word he's ever said. You might just be disgusted by some of the actions that have come as a result of his efforts, right? But let's keep it in perspective too. You know, does he support things that I find to be horrifying? No doubt. But Charlie Kirk dead at 31, an assassin's bullet, is not the solution at all. And give him the credit for being out there. There's a level of fearlessness that comes from being in public when you have something to say. And no matter what, I'm a First Amendment guy all the way, in the arts, in journalism. All right? I come from the book of Jim Tarracani, baby. All right? Let's be honest about it. You know, you're out there saying something that is provocative, and again, I completely disagree with. But you're out there. But being out there, you get fucking gunned down, man. That's not a good precedent for what we do as a civilized and hopefully optimistic population and country. A flawed, historically challenged, contemporarily challenged, I am not a rootin' tootin' flag salutin' guy these days. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in the project. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in the possibilities. That doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge all of the things that went awry and exploitation that occurred to get us to here and that continues to occur. I've mentioned it on the podcast and other places too, but think about Obama, McCain. This is imperfect, duh. We all know that. I mean, I was in like anarcho-syndicalism, Bushwick, Brooklyn underground cafe mode to the max in that moment. That was like peak that part of my life. So to me, like the entire political spectrum was like, I don't think this is even worth spending time with. We all knew that Obama needed to be elected and was like obviously where we needed to go. And we also appreciated the demeanor in which John McCain carried himself throughout most of that race. You know, pushing back in real time against some of the early Tea Party-ish rhetoric that was being directed at Obama about his origins and so on and so forth. That was only like, 15 years ago? That was a presidential race. Today, here in Rhode Island, we sit now into the gubernatorial race. It's official. McKee announced, earlier this year, kind of a weirdly almost like way too early, but okay, answer the questions, assure donors, assure the labor unions that you're in type of thing. He's been in it. And then Folks, who's been running a Sub Rosa campaign for more than a year, everybody knew she was going to run. She made the announcement yesterday. And look, this thing is going to get ugly. And I just hope other people get involved just to soften or triangulate or quadrant or beyond this discussion and try to frame it out as more substance than nonsense. And the criticisms being lobbed across the Folks and McKee dinner table are hardly nonsense. Folks says McKee's incompetent. Take a look at the Washington Bridge. McKee says Folks ill-equipped to lead given her ties to the opioid crisis when she was at CVS. But what we have here is just an example of two adults who are going to spend the next near year doing everything they can to bash the other person. That's what you're going to watch. That's what you're going to watch play out. You're going to be. It's like when you go, let's say you go to Block Island. You're like, what? I think I'm grabbing a donut. All right, let's go over and grab a donut. I haven't had a donut in a while. You grab me, say, matter of fact, let me do a half dozen. And then it's all of a sudden 11:15. You realize you ate all 6 donuts, and you wonder why you feel like garbage. Well, that's what's going to be like following this governor's race. It's going to be like eating 6 donuts first thing in the morning. Jelly donuts. Stale, leftover jelly donuts, by the way. Not even gourmet. It's like the dumpster outside of a Dunkin' Donuts. Go get the trash bag. Eat it all. That's what this governor's race is going to be. It's going to be boring, stale, adults with money, rich adults yelling at each other. You guys want that for your political discourse? I don't want that. I want people with ideas, people with vision. And if you're playing in that vision category, you don't have to spend a lot of time in the rhetoric category. So whether you're on the right and you're a transphobic, hateful of anybody other than yourself type person, or you're on the left and you're celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, you've been kind of iced out of the conversation because you're not even involved. We're talking about, you guys do that? Okay, fine. Go over there and fight at the kids' table if you want. We got stuff to do. We have like science, tech, humanities and arts oriented, soulfulness oriented, real ideas to discuss here. And we're going to figure out how to organize society in a more equitable way and in a way that actually meets the general needs of the general population. So can you guys just get out of the way, please? That's how I feel about every part of the contemporary political discourse that's blockading us out so that they can scream and yell at each other. There are human rights issues at stake as well. No doubt, in my mind, Some of the turning point stuff, and a lot of it probably, is just blatantly anti-human. Never mind anti-women, anti-trans, any category of human. It's also not conservative, because conservatism would require a level of dexterity to say, everybody should be able to do what they want, right? Laissez-faire, isn't that at the root of what conservatism is? So it's something else. And we don't need that other thing, whatever that thing is, to effectively run an art space, a municipality, a state, a country, whatever. You don't need that. And that's dominating. That stuff's dominating. So I'm sad about the Charlie Kirk thing because it shows it's a really pathetic example of where we're at. And I just wish that we weren't there. I wish we were in a place where this was not normalized. It is normalized. Violence on the whole is normalized. Gun violence on the whole is normalized. And political violence is becoming more prevalent. A lot of it has to do with that concept, social atomization, that we spent some time on in the spring here and that I did a keynote on. So I spent a lot of time researching this, and there are many, many factors to it. I'm not going to go into them right now, but we're atomized. We're isolated from each other. We're disconnected on a physical and a metaphysical level right now. There are things that bind us. Oh, good, the Patriots are on. Everybody watch. Oh, good, it's a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, and there's, it's a Saturday, and everybody can go do what they want. Let's all share in that joy. Those things are there, but we're very disconnected. And I worry greatly about this. And I just want political leadership. I said this on the radio today. I don't care, you're talking about Dan McKee, talking about the governor, Dan McKee, you're talking about Helena Bonanno Folks, right? Anybody else who's going to get into this race, who might it be? I don't know, Joe Shikarchi, Speaker of the House. He's got enough money to run twice probably in his campaign account. Peter Nerona, the Attorney General, Ashley Kalis, okay? I think maybe Seth Magaziner. A little sneak surprise there, I think, possibly. Aaron Gukian, also on the Republican side. Wouldn't sleep on him. He ran for lieutenant governor last time. Works for the Dental Association. Smart guy. Good opera singer. Here's the thing. Dan McKee, good human. Helena Bonanno Folks, good human. Joe Shikarchi, good human. Ashley Kalis, good human. Peter Nerona, good human. Seth Magaziner, good human. Aaron Gukian, good human. Start there. Isn't it disgusting that politics now is based on trying to say, no, bad human, bad dog. Bad dog, bad dog, bad dog. I'm the good dog. I'm the alpha dog. You're the wimpy, beta, bad dog. No, I'm the alpha dog. You're the beta, wimpy, bad dog. No, that's where we're heading, folks. That's your governor's race. This is a moment where we more than ever actually need to get our act together. Hasbro, that Hasbro situation's a joke. I'm not saying that they could have saved Hasbro this week. I'm not saying they could have saved it this past year. I'm telling you right now that the reason why Hasbro had no interest in staying here was because they did not believe that we had the adequate creative and unique workforce requisite to operate a tech company of Hasbro's stratosphere and ambition going forward. That's it. And the argument to be made to keep them here and out of Boston, the arguments, never mind tax incentives, just practical things, was there as well. And instead of showcasing those individuals who are already accomplished people through Hasbro or adjacent businesses or the artistic, tech, and design community, and by the way, new media on the whole community that are here in Rhode Island, we didn't do anything to showcase that. I would have been taking these guys into a completely different environment to convince them, your people are here. We need you here to build the facility with us, to operate Hasbro, and give people in the art and design sector and so on and so forth, all the adjacent components of Hasbro, the employees that are there, the 700, and plus the incoming employees, as you expand and freelance and contract in general ways, we're going to build an ecosystem here. And that's not what we did. And we need to address like how we're running things. And instead, we're going to get into a political cycle now that is just going to be the same old boring stuff, except for it's going to be dark, and people are going to post statements and say, well, they lie. Nope, you lie. And that's politics. We get it. Like, I mean, that's not like this novel thing. It's not exclusive to Rhode Island. Just we're seeing it here. This is a show about Rhode Island. But it's also, I just wish we could do better. So those are kind of my thoughts. Those are kind of my initial reactions today on a breaking news day, a challenging day at the studio. And then I just wanted to hop on the mic here. And I do want to make it very, very clear that I think what happened today in Utah, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, is outrageous. It's disgusting. It's part of a broader pattern of political violence that we're seeing emerge and normalize. And it's something that ought to be a wake-up call and a moonshot type moment where we find a way to reel this in. I don't know what it looks like. I'm not sitting here with that answer yet. All right, give me at least a day to meditate on that. Maybe you've got a thought as well if you want to send me a message. It's just a sad thing. It's just a sad situation. Kudos. I'm actually going to pull it up here because I got this I got home and I was eating some dinner and I opened up my email, which I don't usually like to do, but I wanted to. I got this statement that I thought was really smart. And you know what? Credit where credit's due, because it came from the Rhode Island Young Republicans account. I want to give them a shout out for this, because what they produced here was leadership. Youth leadership. And what they produced here was smart, and I don't want to say bold, but it was demonstrating leadership. And what they did was the Rhode Island Young Republicans and Young Democrats issued a joint statement on the death of Charlie Kirk. And I got this at 7:17 p.m. And here's what it said. I'm going to read the whole thing. In the wake of the tragic death of conservative political commentator Charlie Kirk, the Rhode Island Young Republicans and Young Democrats have come together in a moment of unity to express their shared grief and call for a renewed commitment to civility, compassion, and respect. In a joint statement, the two organizations said, "The tragic death of Charlie Kirk is a painful reminder that political violence has no place in our society. I stand next to the Rhode Island Young Democrats to send a clear message. We may disagree on policy, but we are united in our belief in the value of life, civil discourse, and mutual respect. Let us honor Charlie's memory by working together to create a safer and more compassionate political culture," said Ken Naylor, chairman of the Rhode Island Young Republicans. "We condemn all political violence. As young leaders, Democratic, Republican, and Independent, we must take the mantle and make political nonviolence our pledge. We have to understand that when our dialogue becomes toxic, it has unimaginable consequences, as we have seen today. We are friends and neighbors first, and we need to treat each other as such. We send our deepest condolences to Charlie's family and friends." That's Anthony Cherry, vice president of the Rhode Island Young Democrats. The statement concludes, "The Rhode Island Young Republicans and Young Democrats jointly condemn all forms of political violence." I just want to say one more time, I'm proud of those kids, and both of them and those organizations should be proud to put that statement out. When you look at the inbox right now from anybody else on the national, the local parties themselves, I haven't got a message from the state Democratic Party. McKee put out a tweet. Leadership means that you might take an unpopular opinion. And in both circles right now, right and left, there are unpopular opinions being spouted, or there are popular opinions being spouted amongst those groups. Kirk was a complete fascist. It's his pro-Israel stance. He's anti-women. He's this. I'm glad he got killed. You've heard that. The reason why Charlie Kirk was assassinated is because the leftists have no morals. They want to force everybody to transition their gender. They want illegal immigrants in here smuggling drugs, And it's them and their universities that created the type of brain rot that it leads to somebody showing up and assassinating a major political figure. That's a common thread right now. That's what you're hearing, and that's what you're reading, right? So for those two organizations, actually, you know what? I want to make sure I'm clear here. But for those two organizations to pass that statement on a joint basis, I think that is a bold and wholly appropriate and impressive maneuver. And I completely send kudos to both Ken Naylor and Anthony Sherry over there in each of their respective young Democratic organizations. Now, I want to make sure I'm on the record clear. I did not see this. I did get a statement from Rhode Island Democrats. Here's what they said. This is a state Democratic Party. The Rhode Island Democratic Party sadly sends its condolences to the family and friends of Charlie Kirk. This afternoon on a Utah College campus, a true tragedy occurred. It is a tragedy for Charlie Kirk's family and friends, and it is a tragedy for all of us. Americans cannot and must not resolve political differences with a gun. This must stop. There is no place for this violence in our political discourse. It is a mistake to dismiss this as an act of one deranged individual. There's a political culture making these murderous acts seem almost normal. It is incumbent on every political leader in America to tone down the rhetoric, to eliminate hate from political agendas. Let us be mindful that we are family, friends, and neighbors. On behalf of the Rhode Island Democratic Party, we send our deepest condolences to the Kirk family, and let us vow to be part of a less violent future. Okay. So they did put that out. I don't like one line in here, Americans cannot and must not resolve political differences with a gun. It should be Americans cannot and must not resolve political differences with any form of violence, because the gun thing is a Democratic talking point that they're trying to sneak in there. And this is going to get distilled into every single subcategory that they possibly can make it. They're going to examine whoever the alleged shooter was and their background and any ism that they can apply there. There's going to be discourse on how the gun was obtained. The bottom line is that is secondary in the conversation right now. The political differences with any form of violence, including rhetoric. And so I've been critical of him before, but you got a clown like Gavin Newsom running around with his shtick, which won't be him. He'll be the Bobby Jindal. Remember Bobby Jindal? You probably don't. Everybody thought he was going to be president in 2016. He was forgotten about by 2013. But he's going to be like that, former Louisiana governor, Jindal. But that's, I mean, obviously Trump's was where it starts. I mean, nobody's saying it's not. And this garbage that we see every day. But the whole operation of politics needs to shift, and it needs to become way less issues oriented and way more spiritual. And I mean that believe me, I don't mean that in an organized religious context. I mean it in a, what's the purpose of even getting together and calling ourselves a country, right? Ask you that question a couple of times. We send our condolences to the family and friends of Charlie Kirk as well. As a talk media personality myself, I also recognize the success of, if nothing else, the product that was released and the commitment to that. And again, I find it bold to go out there in public like that. I wouldn't want to do that with any kind of regularity. In terms of like debating people and kind of in insecure, as we've seen, or unsecure, I suppose is the right word, environment, I'm not sure that I'd want to be out there. And it's just indicative of a major problem that we've got, folks. I really hope we can solve this and have each other's backs. I really do. I'm really sad that it seems like we've just kind of forgotten about why we're doing all of this being organizing society. We have short memories, and ancestrally, we were doing some of the same things that are taking place in our day-to-day lives today. And we tried to organize society to avoid as many of those things as we could. So when we regress, it's very disappointing. And political assassinations are outrageous at any level, whether it's a government whether it's Israel assassinating people, political leaders of other countries, whether it's us doing it, the United States doing it, whether it's an individual, whether it's the shot, the Butler, Pennsylvania shot on Trump, whatever, January 6th. It is completely and utterly condemnable, and it doesn't look like the world I want to live in, and I hope not for you as well. I'm Bill Bartholomew. This is the Bartholomew Town Podcast. We'll talk soon.
At HealthSource RI for Employers, we provide access to health insurance to more than 1,200 local businesses and nonprofits. And 96% of them renew through us every year. Maybe it's our choice of 19 different health plans, our more than 10 years of customizing solutions, or our one local team of dedicated experts helping employers find quality health and dental insurance. See how our numbers stack up for you. Learn more at healthsourceri.com/employers.